So you have 3 choices, not 2 choices, right? It's not just lend, give. It's lend, give, don't give, don't lend.
That's a good.
So it's do or do not, right? You can go either way. If you choose to give them money, is it a loan or is it a gift? And there are landmines on either side.
Yeah.
The problem if we lend the money is that now we're in a debtor-borrower relationship. We've changed the relationship from cousins to lender-borrower. There's now a power imbalance and a power dynamic at play. You mentioned those awkward dinner issues. Well, those are the awkward dinner issues when they're due a payment, Thanksgiving rolls around, and they're 3 months late. Thanksgiving dinner tastes a little different when you're looking at Monty and he's talking about his family vacation to Montego and you're wondering where your, $3,000 payment is.
So I think the first thing is really lending changes that relational dynamic.
It does.
It radically changes it. But also, let's talk about generosity without expectation. It's Christ-like.
Whoa. Yes, it is. Maybe positive. Or a pause, I should say, landmines. Let's talk about the landmines on the giving side. If you have money and they know it, and they come to you looking for money and they ask for it to be a gift, now we've created potential entitlement issues. To potential like, why am I doing for you something that you should do for yourself? You're not entitled to this money just because you're my cousin or my child for that matter. I can choose to give, or I can choose to lend, or I can choose to do nothing. You have no right to demand from me a gift or not. Now, I can choose to give that money away, but you have to know the person that you're lending the money to and what this is likely to do within their heart and their work ethic. Are they going to work as hard if they know it's a gift? If they know they don't have to repay, that the business can be successful or unsuccessful, or whatever the endeavor is that the money is going to support. Again, so many things are fact dependent. If there's a real financial need, I have no problem with a gift. If it's a business opportunity, I would want it to be more like a pay me back. You need to have skin in the game. Don't treat this lightly because I don't want you to be able to think you can blow the money and blow the business and that not affect our relationship.
So some of the other risks of loaning money to family, the lendee, let's say they don't pay. You gave them money and they didn't pay you back. Well, that's going to create division in the family. That's going to give them a tarnished name. That's just going to be ripe for drama and ripe for all kinds of disaster. And so Proverbs 22:1 says a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. And that's definitely true here. This is something that I wouldn't want to risk, even in my own family. Like right now, like my family situation, we have great unity. But you get into a slave lender situation or slave borrower situation or whatever. Like it's just, I think it's ripe for disaster all around.
It is. There's another verse, we could have read it earlier, but I think it still applies. Resentment kills a fool and envy stirs up the simple.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, envy slays the simple from Proverbs 5:2.
Job 5:2.
Yeah, Job, the other one. Yeah, Job 5:2. The reality is that unmet expectations creates resentment, and that creates an opportunity to destroy relationships. I feel like we've been dancing around this the entire time, but another way that this, things could go bad when lending money to family members is that it can enable poor decisions. And that's where I like, no is a right answer. If you're afraid this is just going to enable foolishness, don't give the money away. God made you the steward, not them. If God wanted them to be the steward of the money, he would have given it to them, or he would have moved it in your heart to give it to them. But please, by no means feel like you need to enable bad decision-making.
I think another thing, before we get to the rewards, the possible rewards of loaning money to family, but I think that we've talked about it briefly, but if you don't write these things down, the terms of your agreement could be either forgotten or taken advantage of. If you don't know clearly what's happening, when it's happening, how it's happening in terms of repayment, you can pretty much expect that it's not going to happen, right? Yeah. So make sure, like, if you go down this road, Get it all written out clearly so everybody understands and everybody agrees upon it. Heck, get people to sign it. Like,
I got a story about that.
please.
So I have been on the borrower side of these family lending arrangements. I needed some money for a purchase that my wife and I were doing, and my dad lent me the money, and he wrote out this agreement and said, you're paying once a year. It's got to be paid by the end of the year, December 31st. Here's the payment cycle, and it's interest free if it's paid off by X date. I totally forgot about X date.
Uh-oh.
And X date was frankly before the full, like every payment would have paid it off. Like it's, let's just say if we divided it by, would have been, I'm doing the math in my head, guys, 10 years. I would have had 10 years to pay the thing off. It was less than that. Maybe it was 7 years. 7 years to pay the thing off. But if I paid it in year 5, the whole thing, there would be no interest. But if I went to year 6 or 7, it went retroactive interest. I didn't realize that. I signed the stupid paperwork. I forgot about that balloon payment note in there. And when my dad came to me and said, hey, Tim, you going to have this paid off by December of this year? Because remember, if you do it, there's no interest. Like, what? I went back and looked at the note and I'm like, it's there. I do remember. Oh, I do vaguely remember seeing that. I totally forgot what I agreed to. The fact that we put it in paper, that I had a copy of it, that he had a copy of it, that I signed it, my wife signed it, my mom, my dad signed it. We all were on the same page. I was able to say, you know what? I really need to pull everything together and get this thing paid off by December because I don't want it to pay any interest.
So is that what you did?
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But that's an example of why you want to have it written down, not just a handshake agreement. If it's not written down, it never happened.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a written documentation that it was a loan with the expectation of repayment, it was a gift from the government's perspective. You have no leg to stand on when going to the court. So write stuff down. Not because you're going to take them to the court, but because your memory could be faulty like mine was.
Our memories fail us all the time, right? You think you thought something and you think this happened and it didn't happen a different way. Like just having it written down is such a fail safe.